Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Let's start off with housekeeping. Thank you so much for 3,000 subscribers. This is a milestone I didn't foresee myself getting to anytime soon, but I'm so thankful. So thank you, and I hope you are continuing to watch my content. If not, honestly, no hard feelings. This is just for fun. 2, I'm on my bed today. I don't know why. 3, I am mentally stable. I know you might be seeing my hair and think, Sammy, what the fuck? We're good. We're good. I was just trying something new. 4, please let me know if this audio is good. I know I keep getting comments that I'm whispering. Usually it is on my older videos. I did try to fix it, but let me know if this is good because I feel really bad. Like I don't want you guys to not be able to hear me, and I know some people might feel bad for like pointing it out, but no, please point it out. I don't think I'm talking quietly, or at least I don't think my videos are quiet. I don't like to shout just in general, but yeah, let me know if this audio is good just for future reference. Okay, let's get into this video, which is going to be tier ranking all of the YA contemporary romances I've ever read. This video was requested and I thought it was amazing by Terrell Ballinger. You've supported my videos for so long and I felt like I had to do this video, and it was so like on brand, I'd say. I mean, I still like obviously love YA contemporary romance, but I've been trying to try out other genres to get a better idea of what I do like outside of YA contemporary romance, but it's absolutely still the genre that I push for the most, just because it has such a special place in my heart. I absolutely adore it. So there is, I believe, 42. Before I start, I want to kind of elaborate on what I consider YA contemporary romance. I actually did a whole recommendation video where I think I talked a little bit about what I classify as YA contemporary romance. You can check that out for like a more detailed description, but essentially it needs to be YA, obviously, and not just a contemporary that features a romance, because most YAs can like have some sort of romance, but it's not always the center of the romance. For example, like American Street has a romance in it. I wouldn't consider it about the romance. There's a lot of books like that. I didn't include those, and I think that's where the numbers got like a little down, just because like traditional romance, or at least books that are solely focused, like very heavily focused on the romance, become less popular. But just wanted to clarify that before we got into it. And yeah, I think that's basically what I wanted to say for the tiers. So as you can see on my screen, I have 5 tiers. That's just like the standard they had on Tier Maker, so that's what I went with. Top tier, would die for, book or couple. Not all of the books I would die for, but I'd probably die for the couple, or maybe I wouldn't die for the couple, but I just love the book so much. That's gonna go in would die for. My absolute favorites, would die for. All Around Great Time is for books I feel like are really quality. Still would highly recommend, but not God tier. Good Mems is classified for books that like I probably read a long time ago. Have good memories, would still recommend, but they're a little washy with me. Like I probably couldn't name the main characters. I'm not gonna even promise that I can remember the main characters of Would Die For. I'm not gonna lie. Well, maybe that should be a qualification. All Around Great Time, like I don't even know if I'm gonna remember all those characters. Good Mems, older books, probably, mostly. Meh is, I have no memory. I just like don't care about them. Could Rot is books I actively disliked, which like looking through this list, like I don't know. But first off, we have That Summer by Sarah Dessen. This was like a YA romance about this like girl, and it's not even really a romance actually now that I'm thinking about it, but there was like a love interest in this, sort of. It's like the characters are super young. I'm gonna put this in meh because it was meh. It's like mostly about like being young and finding yourself, and it's not really in the romance, but like Sarah Dessen is like very much romance. That Boy by it doesn't have her name on it. This was like a OG book that I got on like Kindle. One of my friends from high school recommended, Julian Dodd. One of my friends recommended it to me, so I read it, Could not tell you anything about it, so I'm putting it in meh because it's clearly not memorable at all. But it was relatively a classic for the time. The Fault in Our Stars. Could rot. I don't like that book. I don't like cyclic in general, and now putting like the cyclic book in the could rot category feels kind of icky to me, but I don't like that book, so sorry. Next up, The Kissing Booth. Absolutely could rot. I read this in Wattpad back in the day. This is the only like Wattpad book. Actually, there might be another one here. I just included traditionally published because if I went to Wattpad books, we'd have a whole other thing going for us. If you want that tier ranking video, I can make it, but it would be an interesting time. The Kissing Booth, I didn't like it when it was on Wattpad. I never read it when it was actually physically published or traditionally published. I actively do not like the movies, even though I watched both of them, but absolutely could rot. I don't like it, okay? I just do not. Next, Eleanor and Park. I liked it when I read it. I did. Now, tainted. Don't really like it. I don't know if I want to say could rot because I know a lot of people like felt love for that series, and I don't necessarily hate it. I think it does harmful things, and I know it's also done great things for people. So I'm just gonna put it in the meh category. I don't want to say could rot because that seems kind of harsh. Next up, another Wattpad book, but it was traditionally published. Once again, read this on Wattpad. Good Mems for In 27 Days. Good Memories, that book was like this girl that died, or like there was like an angel or a demon or a sort of a death character. I don't know. Good Memories, couldn't really tell you much about it, but I remember really enjoying it. Fangirl. This one's hard. I very much disliked a lot of the characters in this, but I still have like rather fond memories attached to like Levi, who is like the main guy character, but I'm still gonna put him meh just because I really did not like Cap. I just don't like that book. I think I made a whole video about it. I'll link it up above for you. Next up, The Avery Shaw Experiment by Ashley Oram, I think. Good Mems. I read this in early high school. I couldn't tell you really what it was about, but it was just like a really cute like YA contemporary romance about this girl that was like super nerdy, and she tries to like have an experiment to make a guy fall in love with her, I think. Next up, To All the Boys I Loved Before. Do I have all the books on here? I do have all the books. I would die for To All the Boys I Loved Before. I would die for it. Yeah, there's nothing else to put there. On the Fence by Casey West. My first Casey West that I read, meh. It was like a boy next door romance, I think. She was like a soccer player. She did something bad and she had to like work over the summer to like make up for it. That's not my favorite plot line. Meh. Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. Good Mems. I think I gave this a relatively high rating, but like in retrospect, like I don't remember much of anything from it. This one was one of the ones I was teetering on with like, is it really a romance? And I mean it is, but there is like a heavier plot there, which a lot of these have a heavier plot. But yeah, Good Mems. Would still recommend, but Good Mems. All the Right Places. Meh. This was kind of like a romance, kind of not. I'm gonna put this in meh because like technically it packs a punch and it's a time, but I wouldn't recommend it. So meh. The Fill-In Boyfriend. This was one of my favorite books of last year, but I don't think I would die for it. I just don't think I would die for it. So all around great time because I highly recommend it. I think it's fantastic, but I don't think I would die for it. Okay, Magnolia. Can't remember the author's name on this one either. Oh no, Good Mems. Good Mems. I read this around the same time I read Me Before You. I want to say it was like 2015, 2016. Southern YA romance, which honestly makes me want to bump it up to All Around Great Time because I do not read enough of those. But this was like centered around this girl that got trapped with this guy that they like hate each other. Their parents are best friends, but they hate each other because there's like this big hurricane. And I don't know if it would stand up to time now, but it was pretty crazy. It was drama filled. It was a good time. So do I put in All Around Great Time? I don't know. I want to say good memes, but like thinking back on it, we're gonna move it up to all around great time. My Unscripted Life. This is about a girl who's working on set at a movie. Like the movie star guy is of course her age, and they have a romance. Meh. I read this on Kindle. I actually had it as an ARC, I think, and it was like meh. So yeah. Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Honestly guys, good memes. This was the first audiobook I ever listened to, and I give her a lot of credit for that because damn, she like changed my life. But in general, like it was kind of like, it was good memes, not meh, good memes, but not an all around great time. Like I wasn't obsessed with the plot or anything. Yeah, I don't know. P.S. I still love you. So like the series as a whole, I have a lot of animosity towards this book because I just don't like it. Even though I gave it a high rating, because I mean, I'm gonna give it a high rating, I almost want to put it in could rot because it makes me angry, but I like the outcome of the book, so can I put it in could rot? I think I'm just gonna put it in meh, because it's not good memes. It's not an all-around great time at all, but I think could rot is a little harsh. I think it's a little harsh for her. Kiss Cam. Good memes. This was a book that I won in a giveaway, like back in the day from Swoon Reads. This was also a Wattpad book, but I read this one traditionally published, not from Wattpad, but it was originally on Wattpad. This was like a YouTuber romance, like two of the people on this YouTube channel fall in love, if I'm remembering correctly. Good memes. I don't remember anything really bad about it. I thought it was like a fun time. Wanderlost, Jen Malone, all around great time. There's some sad parts in this, don't get me wrong, but really fun. Traveling Europe. This girl has to be a tour guide for these senior citizens as they're taking a trip around Europe because her sister gets in some trouble. She's like filling her spot for her, and the tour company's son like has to come along because she's really royally screwing stuff up and help her, and there's a romance. Fantastic. Love it. When Dimple Met Rishi. Good memes are all around great time. I want to say good memes because I did really like the romance in this book. The writing wasn't like my favorite, and I still want to read more from Sonia Menon, but it's not like my favorite book. Still, obviously, would recommend all the books in the top 3 tiers. The Sun is Also a Star. Would die for it. Not everyone will agree on this, but I absolutely adore this book. It just is amazing. All in one day. I don't know, like interracial love story, insta love. Yeah, it's insta love, but it hits. It hits, okay? I'm sorry. And the movie. Okay, Tash Hart's Tolstoy. This one I want to say meh because I wouldn't say it's good memes. This story features an asexual main character, and I was really excited to read that, but I didn't really love the plot it took. It was centered on YouTube once again, which is really hit or miss because I mean, we're on YouTube, so we know at least the industry a little bit, or even if you're like super familiar with YouTube culture, it's always a little weird. You're like, I don't think this is realistic. Added on to that, like I just didn't love the plot it took. I don't know, I didn't love where it went. I did ultimately like the ending, but overall I'd say you could skip it and it would just be fine. 12 Hours in Paradise. One of the first ARCs I ever received, like e-ARC on NetGalley. I've read this. It was the weirdest. It was like the weirdest thing. So could rot. I wouldn't say I necessarily have negative like anger towards it, but like it's the weirdest book. Like I just don't. Yeah, no. Kissing Max Holden by Katie Upperman. My first physical ARC. I have so much good memories associated with this. I wouldn't say it's an all-around great time because there is like the cheating trope in it a little bit, and that's not my favorite thing ever. It's a good time. I would still recommend you read it if the cheating trope doesn't bother you. I'd say it bothers me less like now than when I first read it, but yeah, it's still like a good time. First, Lori, I always want to say Lori Halse Anderson, but it's like Lori Elizabeth Flynn. Firsts, she's meh. This is a story about a girl that like invites guys into her bedroom to have sex so that their girlfriend's first time will be good. And I know you're hearing that and you're like, Sammy, what did you expect going into this book? Good question. I don't know, but not what I was given. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the whole plot itself like kind of sounds interesting, but it was so weird and disjointed and just like ugh. Like, I don't know, I just ended up feeling icky at the end of it, and yeah, I don't know, it just wasn't that great. Tell Me Three Things by Julie Buxbaum. I want to say all around great time. I really enjoyed this book, and I don't think I gave it like a 4.5, I think, but I think it's like a really great YA contemporary romance that doesn't get a lot of hype. It's the story of this girl who moves to a new school because her dad got remarried, and this person starts sending her letters to like help her out with school, anonymously, like over the internet, and they write back and forth, and you know, it's cute. I really enjoyed it. All around great time because I don't have like any like blaring problems with it. They both die at the end. All around great time. I love, like, this is very clearly a romance, but it has such a cool plot along with it, and that's like usually what I'm looking for. Like, I don't know, I won't want to say usually because I'll read like a romance that has 0.0 plot, but I've noticed that I really do enjoy a romance book where the plot is still interesting enough to keep my attention, but it's not overpowering what I really care about, which is the romance. But yeah, fantastic. I don't know, I just love it. I just thought it was so interesting. Okay, More Than We Can Tell, all around great time. Wouldn't die for it, just wouldn't. Bridget Kemmerer. This is a sequel, like the sequel companion to Letters to the Lost, which is also on this list, just a little later. It follows to one side character from the first book and his like love interest, and it touched a lot on like internet culture, and I don't know, it's a really fun time. It takes place in my hometown. I've talked about all this before, but they have a very special place in my heart. Alex approximately would die for. Absolutely would die for. I just would die for it. Always and Forever Lara Jean would die for. Period. I don't have to explain that. American Panda, super forgettable. So I don't want to say good memes because I don't remember much of it. But I think it was kind of, I want to say meh. Just because, I don't know, I just like don't remember much from it. I think this was the one that took place in college, and I was kind of expecting more of it, but it felt like very much like high school characters just aged up a little bit, which I mean is true, but like, I don't know, I was expecting something like a little interesting. Like, you're giving me college, but you're not giving me what I wanted from a college like YA. Like, I honestly think like Fangirl did the college experience better than American Panda, so that was like kind of missing for me. It was okay. Starry Eyes, would die for it. Absolutely would die for it. Yeah, I would just die for it. The Impossibility of Us, all around great time. Great time, questionable because it is really hard to read. This centers around the story of this girl who's moving to a seaside town with her mom after her brother dies, so she's going to move in with her sister-in-law to help out like around the house and just help with the sister-in-law and her niece. The brother died in combat in Afghanistan, and she starts to fall in love with this Afghani boy. It was sad. It's also written half in like verse. Okay, I Believe in a Thing Called Love. I really wanted to like this more, but I just didn't. It's like this story of this girl that's following these K-drama, like the plot of a K-drama to try to make this guy fall in love with her. Like, that in itself kind of sounds kind of weird, and they like address it, so it's not like super weird, but like, I don't know, like I want to say good memes because I think this book did something different, and I did enjoy my time reading it, but meh. Serious Moonlight, I gave 4 stars. It was like the first Jen Bennett that I really was just like, I don't know if I like it. I'd still say good memes. Although, like, it's meh in comparison to, like, other Jen Bennett's, but I think in comparison to other books, it's good memes. So take that as you will. I don't know why I keep getting descriptions for the books that I'm putting in lower categories and not putting the descriptions for the books that I said would die for, but please trust my judgment. I promise the top books are good. You don't even need to know the description. Letters to the Lost, all around great time. Wouldn't die for it, but absolutely all around great time. I love it. Letters written on gravestones, meet in person, there's like a whole thing. I don't know, there's a whole thing. But letters, which is a common thing, I love To All the Boys I Loved Before, Letters So Lost. There's another letters, there's Tell Me Three Things, lots of letters. Alex Approximately is also like letters. There's a theme. I love them all. Call It What You Want. Would die for it. I don't know. It's my favorite Bridget Kemmerer. I just love it so much. I think it does great things with the romance, but then also talking about like culture, society, you know. How the Light Gets In, all around great time. Love it. Sisterly bond. Tragedy, so it's like sad, which isn't my favorite. Like, I'd say that's my favorite Katie Upperman, but I don't necessarily, I can't die for books that are really sad because they make me sad and I don't like being sad. But yeah, it's like Ghost too, which is really fun. Like, this was a book that I had, like, I really enjoyed the plot as well as with the romance. Love Boat Taipei, all around great time. Would I say all around great time? Like, all around? Like, no, she has problems. She has big problems. And Yesenia, Skylar, if you're watching this, I know you guys are like, I know Skylar already got the book. Yesenia, I know you're thought about getting the book, or you will get the book, or something. Don't cancel me once you read this book, okay? It's a good time, but it's not without its faults, okay? It's about this girl who goes off to Taipei to go to this like school to learn Chinese, because her parents like want her to be more traditional before she goes off to college and yada yada yada. But it's like ends up being like kind of like a party school sort of thing. And all the kids are just like looking for their future wives, future husbands. They're like clubbing, they're like living their life, you know. I really like that, just because I feel like books are always like, let's be crazy, but then like none of them actually are. This one I thought was pretty crazy, and like the drama level was high, but I don't recommend this for younger children, because it's just like problematic, but it's a good time. So Gossip Girl, I've said this before. Paper Towns, meh. Just meh. I won't want to say it's like a rot, but like meh. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, good memes. Just like, it's just good memes. They like, I know they're in a town in like Maryland at one point, which is always just like makes me feel something. But like overall, just good memes. Someone Like You. This isn't really a romance. Why did I put this in here? It's more about like friendship, but all around great time. Okay, it just is. It is so much better than her first book, which is that summer. Meh. It's like so much better. I really love like the friendship bond. This book does a lot of things which I won't speak on because it's spoilers, but good time. Where She Went. You might be wondering, why didn't I put If I Stay on here? I don't think that's a romance. It's literally about her like trying, like navigating her life as she's like literally dead. And maybe it's like a spoiler to say like what this book is about, but it follows a character going like pursuing a love interest, and it happens in like one day or like one night. And I really enjoyed it when I read it, so I want to say good memes. I wouldn't say it's all around great times. I don't remember it that well. But yeah, last but not least, Looking for Alaska, my favorite John Green book. No, that's not true. All the Way Down, Turtles All the Way Down is my favorite John Green book. I didn't put that on here either because it's not a romance like at all. This like kind of isn't a romance either. Like, it's like vaguely a romance. I feel like the only true romance he has is The Fault in Our Stars, but Looking for Alaska is kind of a romance. But this was like the book like I would originally call like my favorite book. Like, I love, now I just say it's good memes, even though the memes are not pleasant, but they're good memes. But yeah, that's, I'm just gonna leave that there. Okay, this has been an interesting time, but here's my tier rank. Would die for all of these books. Yes, I think that's this. If you just want like a good like list of YA contemporary romances you should read, definitely the top row, also the second row. Good memes. We start to get a little iffy. we start to get a little iffy. Okay? Matt and Kudrat, just skip. Just don't even touch them. Just like they're not really worth it to me. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to do more tier ranking. I know they're like kind of out now. Like, I don't know, they've been going around for a while. But I like them. I think they're still fun to watch. So if you guys are interested in seeing more, I'll definitely do some. Leave some down below if you like, with some suggestions of what you'd like to see from me. But this is really fun. I'm really glad I did this, and I love you guys getting more recommendations for one of my favorite genres. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye!